Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing fantastic. Hope you're all making sure to take care of yourselves and that you're all having a great day. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. They're free, easy ways to support the channel. And I go over cryptocurrency news every single day, as I have been for almost a decade. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Grayscale, for whatever reason, has kind of become the new Coinbase. Years ago, years ago, when mainly on Coinbase's platform, they had Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and maybe 3 other coins. This is a long ago, like 2016, 2017. If they ever announced that they were going to be listing a new coin, that coin's price would skyrocket. Not jump by 5%. That coin would go up by like 300% over the course of a week. That doesn't happen too much anymore, simply because Coinbase is listing basically every single coin under the sun. Grayscale, however, is a company who is famous for not only purchasing Bitcoin and creating the first iterations of what would eventually become Bitcoin ETFs within the space, but it appears as if that any coin that they list onto their platform kind of gets like the golden treatment, if you will. It usually symbolizes that institutions and companies are interested in a certain coin. And therefore, as we just had news quite recently as well, Grayscale added a new XRP trust, which has led people to believe that this is some type of institutional interest behind the scenes. Got it? But that they might also then convert that from a trust into an actual ETF and therefore become the first XRP ETF. So now speculation is, of course, abound as the crypto market continues to grow. Institutions are happy with Bitcoin and Ethereum. However, they're also looking for new coins to add to their portfolio as well. Crypto asset manager Grayscale spoke about apparently 35 different altcoins that they might potentially add to their list of products. Grayscale has announced a list of altcoins that could be included in investment products. Accordingly, the altcoins on the list will be evaluated in the future and may be listed as investment products, although it is not definite. They mentioned before a couple of years ago that they were adding new coins, but it was basically XRP, Cardano, I think Avalanche was one of them, and like maybe 2 or 3 other coins. 35 coins is like, of course, it got a lot of people's attention. They said, "We are excited to share this list of assets being considered for inclusion in Grayscale investment products, along with an updated list of assets that already exist. Assets for consideration list digital assets that are not currently included in a Grayscale investment product, but have been identified by our team as potential candidates for inclusion in a future product." Therefore, the excitement. Usually, we see if something gets listed on Grayscale, some of the newer expectation is, of course, the ETF. However, the other part basically means, because institutions pay a lot of attention to Grayscale, so if they list something, it could then mean a price, good increase for that coin as well. The 35 coins are as follows: Kaspa, that is Kaspa, Aptos, like Zapdos, but with the Z is gone. Arbitrum, Celestia, Cello, Core, Cosmos, Internet Computer, which is still a terrible name, Mantle, Metis, Neon, Optimism, Polygon, now known as Matic, Sei, SEI, Starknet, Toncoin, which is also gaining in popularity. That's the coin from the app Telegram. I don't know how this coin got so popular, but all I keep seeing is people talking about hamsters with Telegram, and I don't know what's going on. Tron, Aerodrome, Athena, that's Ethena with the letter E and not an A, Injective Protocol, Jupiter, Mantra, Ondo Finance, Pendle, Thorchain, Dogecoin, Immutable X, Akash, oh gosh, it's Akash, Akash, got it. Arweave what? Okay. Oh my gosh, geez Louise. This coin is called Artificial Superintelligence Alliance. Helium, Pyth, UMA, Project, VeChain, and WorldCoin, which, if you haven't been keeping up with the news, you might want to brush yourself up on that. Incredibly popular news because they're Grayscale. Grayscale has joined the leagues of Coinbase, Robinhood, and what's the other one? MicroStrategy, and there's like one other company, not BlackRock, because BlackRock owns everything. But of the companies who are up there, who like if they mention something, people kind of go crazy. I think like 80-90% of these coins are not even used or just some kind of hype. It's more of these are what they are considering. If any of these coins actually get added to their products, you will definitely know because you will see prices jump. Yeah, that's the Grayscale is talking about adding 35 coins, or at least 35 coins are on their radar. I give it like a month or two. They'll start adding a bunch of stuff on there. And yeah, let's move on. We spoke about this before. But I didn't show you one of the actual articles about it. Remember I said, this was about 3 or 4 days ago, I said it's so weird because people from the SEC have basically come forward and said that they lied. Like, not like in a joking way or whatever, but like, over the years, we've had, I mean, mainly Hester Pierce, but one or two other people at some point popped up and basically said that, you know, like, we need to treat crypto better. We're not doing what we should. But now it's gotten to the point where they're like basically announcing that everything has been a complete disaster. And I don't understand personally why more people in crypto aren't, what's the word? Like clapping, standing up, and also like trying to, I don't want to say the words get justice, but that kind of fits quite accurately in there. U.S. SEC Commissioner, his name is Mark Uyeda, Uyeda, did not mince words during an October 10th Fox Business panel, calling out the SEC's current approach to cryptocurrency regulations as a disaster. Like I said, I spoke about that this happened, and I was wondering why it wasn't more in the news, but here's the actual news for it. Uyeda criticized Gary Gensler for enforcing crypto policies without providing clear guidance for companies to follow, resulting in widespread confusion and legal battles across the industry. Gary Gensler and the guy before him, I don't remember this guy's name, Tupac. What was the guy's name from 2020? The former SEC commissioner. I don't remember, whatever. I'm going to say the wrong name again. They both did the exact same thing that they're each doing, basically copying each other's playbook. there's never been guidance, there's never been rules or regulations by the actual regulators within the United States of America. And this is what I am always talking about. I'm like, I don't get why people aren't, I don't want to use the term fighting more, but like, why aren't people like standing up and being like, hey, this is wrong? You hear that when you hear that someone from inside the office says that something is wrong, something's terrible, this has been a disaster, and it doesn't make big news, and also people seem to not care, this is why things don't work and why things continue to break, because people aren't more active. Okay. Yeah, so this, what do you call it? This was abundant once again when we found out years ago, no, maybe even a year. Has it even been a year? When Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, and Binance all got lawsuits against them from the SEC. I said, and when it happened, I was like, "There's no way on this earth. These are multi-billion-dollar companies. They're lawyered up. They have 15 lawyers each. The people who are on their board of directors, for those of you who are unaware, are always former members of the SEC and CFTC. Like they know the rules. So when they all got in trouble for security violations, I was like, yeah, something's wrong, because these companies would never do anything to put themselves in a position where they could lose money. It doesn't make any sense to do so. You would follow the rules as much as you possibly could. Uyeda pointed to the fact that the SEC's strategy of regulating through enforcement has only led to inconsistent court rulings. He said, "We've done nothing to provide guidance on it," he said, adding that the lack of clarity has allowed the courts to step in and decide crypto-related matters in conflicting ways. Some of them have said A, some of them have said B, some of them have said C. And at the very center of all of it, the US SEC has won a lot of money from it. If you weren't here as well, the SEC, I mean, it must be over 100 lawsuits against cryptocurrency companies. Like, that's not a fake number. It must be over 100. Or like 86. It's a high number. The problem is that they take these people to court and then they end up like settling. So they say, oh, okay, you know what? Actually, we can put this whole thing behind us if you guys just give us some money. And the really crazy part, like the crescendo of madness, if you will, is hearing that they wanted, what was it, $4 billion from Ripple? And Ripple, excuse my French, was like, go F yourself. Like, what in the world are you talking about? And then the SEC was like, okay, fine, just 100 million. And I was like, wait, what happened to the other $4 billion worth of charges? Were those just thrown away? Or did you realize that you were being far too greedy? And as I said before, during all of these cases, when the SEC gets money from a company, that doesn't go back to the people who the SEC claims were wronged. If that $100 million went to people who, against the claim or whatever of the SEC, I'd be like, okay, at least people got money back. No, the SEC is pocketing all of it. This is like open, blatant corruption. And for those of you who keep thinking that things are going to be better after Gary Gensler, you need to read a history book, because it's always been this way. It's not that it should be this way, but people don't rise up and fight oppression. Some people even stand with the oppressor, and it's like, okay, yeah, this is very big news. It was barely spoken about. I saw a couple of people being like, yeah, they're wrong, and then everyone's forgotten about it. These people tell you that they're evil, and you still stand with them. It is, or, just don't. You assume at some point that the SEC will do things in your favor and that you'll make money so you don't complain. That's the SEC news. And yeah, let's move on. Also in popular news, because why not? BitHum, a leading cryptocurrency exchange in South Korea, is apparently talking about going public on the NASDAQ in the US of A. The company has commenced preparations for their initial public offering, their IPO, which is expected to take place in the second half of next year. A lot of companies are now trying to go public within the cryptocurrency space. We just heard from the people from Tether, who said that they have no intention of going public, and also they don't plan on making their own blockchain anytime in the near future. Sprinkled around, a lot of them are Bitcoin mining companies who are so gargantuan that you couldn't begin to understand how much money these people are making. And by going public, they're basically trying to spread their wings and raise billions of dollars more to basically mine as much Bitcoin as they possibly can so that normal people don't and can't get any more. But now we're also seeing crypto exchanges do the same. There are rumors of Coinbase. No. It wasn't Coinbase. What's the other company? Was it Kraken? I think Kraken is also mentioning going public. You have the rumors, or rather, not rumors, of Ripple going public. It's going to happen. I'm still also assuming summer 2025. It seems like when they're actually going to go full force. But sure, I find it weird that this was more popular than the SEC news. But if you can explain it to me, I would love to know why. As far as do people like crypto companies going public that have nothing to do with them? So, like, for instance, none of you own BitHum, I assume, or have any stake in it. Your coins might be there, but you're not like a stakeholder in the company. Why would this be popular news? And if it goes public, is it because you think that it'll make crypto more mainstream if people can see that there's a crypto exchange on the NASDAQ? Or is it I truly wonder. Do you think that the company will make more money by going public, and therefore this will increase the prices of crypto accordingly as well? I always wonder. A lot of news ends up being really popular, and I show it to you, and then I also scratch my head because I'm like, yeah, okay. That's the BitHum news. We'll see what happens in the second half of 2025. And yeah, let's move on. Also we could have kind of seen that one. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, the RBZ, has imposed a new limit on the amount of US dollars that travelers can carry out of the country. Let me preface this by saying, I once had a conversation with a friend who we were discussing art. They're not in any market, which I find, it's their life. Let them do and lose as much as they possibly want to in life. The other part was, at some point we were talking about art. I collect art. I'm an art collector. I like art. It's very pretty. I like having it on the walls. And we were discussing the prospect of art once again. And they were like, yeah, some of it's pretty, but a lot of it's just used for money laundering. And I was like, you sound like an idiot who watched one documentary made by some whatever. And they were like, no, like it's mainly used for money laundering. And I was like, the art that I buy, do you think I'm laundering money with it? No, but it's kind of like, like companies are always laundering money. And I was like, do you know what money laundering is? And they were like, it's when people launder money. And I was like, yes, good. You're gonna star. Now, what is it? Well, it's like when people move money illegally. And I said, why is it illegal? Because they can't move that money. And I said, why is it illegal? Why can't people move their own money around? Why do you have to ask permission to move your money? Long story short, of course they didn't know. It was like me leading them. I was going to say leading them through a city during daylight with a flashlight. That was kind of accurately what it was. A lot of people don't understand that the idea of money laundering comes from governments not wanting to lose money. You will hear that people use money laundering with art or with the US dollar or with gold or with whatever to move money between borders, and that it's illegal. What you're not understanding or don't know is that it's illegal because governments don't want money to move out of their borders, because we still exist in the 1800s. And the idea is that if money leaves your borders, your country becomes economically weaker, like logically. So remember the news that we were going over about a month ago, that China has also put a bunch of new strongholds on moving money outside of the country. In the early 2000s, there were no restrictions, or very few. You could kind of move money as long as you went to the bank, say, hey, I'm moving 14 million. Cool. Sign this paper. That moved down to $1 million. That moved down to 100K. That moved down to 10K. And now basically, if you want to get your money out of the country, because the way that it works in for those of you who don't know, a lot of large companies moved into China as well, and then realized that the laws were changing rapidly and that they could not take their money out. So the idea is, if you can't take out 100 million and move it to the Cayman Islands or even back to the States, if you're an American company doing business in China, what do? You have to reinvest that money within their borders. That's the idea of money laundering. Stop taking money out of the country because this country is becoming weaker economically. So this is why you see movies about like heists and, people buying art and, all this. It looks very like, what's the name of that movie? Fast and the Furious, and like all these other kinds of things. The underlying thing about it is if you move too much money out of a country, it does become weaker, and governments don't want that. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with making you poorer or anything like that. It's literally just like governments figured out, especially with paper money and now with digital money, that they don't want money moving across borders and overseas without them knowing, so that they can calculate how much worse off the country has actually become, air quotes. Because the problem is, if you haven't figured it out yet, China's economy is not doing well. This is why they're talking about printing over $100 billion worth of their currency to keep their markets propped up. Because over the course of the last 20 years, people have been taking their money out of the country. We talked about people going to these auction houses and buying art, buying diamonds, buying jewels, and sending them to London, sending them to Canada. This is why a couple of years ago, there was a whole thing. I mean, people are also terrible humans. But I saw a lot of news articles and videos online with people like, why are there so many people from China and Canada? Why are there so many in London? It's because they have money. For those of you, yeah, I know it hurts. But the secondary part is that these people couldn't move their money around, and they were like, something's wrong with the government, something's wrong with the economy. So they moved their money out in another way, and then they bought property in other countries around the world that had cheaper real estate. So, in major news, and I assume it's because it has to do with monetary restrictions, Zimbabwe is now in the news. The fact that this also made popular news was also relatively perplexing to me, simply because their economy's been terrible forever. This is a country who's part of a long string of other countries who exist under the realm of like constant corruption. Corruption is the right word to have there. Economics, while difficult, is also not that difficult. At the basis of it, you have supply and demand. Got it. You have, when it comes to printing money, don't print a lot of money. Simple enough. Don't go into debt. Don't make sure that you are in debt to other countries. Like it's easy, it's difficult, but it's also easy. Like very basic rules. The issue is that a lot of these countries are usually ruled by people who, what's the word? Starts with a D, ends with an idiot. And basically, they decide all the rules for the country. And they end up siphoning a huge amount of money from their people through taxes and other means and use that money for them and their family nearly exclusively. I wouldn't point a finger at Zimbabwe. This is more of a worldwide issue. But what ends up happening is that money that gets siphoned away that should go to roads and schools and housing and a bunch of other things disappears. And then they go, well, we need to print more money. So they end up printing so much money that the currency ends up being hyper devalued. And then they have hyperinflation. Then they have a little bit of a revolution. And then basically someone new comes in and goes, I will never do what that last person did. And then over 15 years, they do the exact same thing all over again. So remember the news that we had before, maybe not, I'm going to reinform you. The news that we had before and have been having for a number of years is that Bitcoin is gaining traction amongst normal people. That's like a huge, like gigantic thing that more people in crypto should take notice with, but they don't, they just care about the price of Bitcoin and them becoming rich, not understanding that Bitcoin is actually a worldwide currency right now. So what's happening in a lot of places around the world who have terrible fiat currencies is that the locals are actually buying Bitcoin. Remember when we had a news story last year about Turkey? Turkey has terrible inflation. I think their interest rate is like 46%. Like it's just all around horrible. And basically, we heard that there was a huge surge in the amount of brand new Bitcoin addresses in Turkey and in Argentina and in Venezuela and in Mexico and in a multitude of other places around the world. So people are realizing that there's like another path, if you will, to some type of economic freedom. And people are swapping their money into Bitcoin because Bitcoin, as I jokingly said before, is actually less volatile, think about it, than many other world currencies. And also the prospectus of Bitcoin potentially going to $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 million does a lot for the human mind when you keep seeing videos and your friends and family walking around carrying an entire pillowcase full of paper, full of money, going to the supermarket, trying to buy some flour, and the flour's gone up in price and the currency has been devalued even more. Under the revised regulations, travelers are now limited to carrying a maximum of $2,000 in cash when departing Zimbabwe. Previously, this was $10,000. This measure is intended to, they say, curb illegal foreign currency transactions and stabilize the local currency. You know how you also stabilize it? Stop printing it. Like right now, like stop. Your currency would begin to recover over the course of a year, but usually the damage ends up being done. So therefore, there's no turning back until you obliterate this current currency, make a brand new one, and then go, oh, I'll never do that again. Yeah, Bitcoin's very important, and I wish more people understood that. I am getting, what's the word? My wishes are being granted that Bitcoin is being figured out, found by, used by the people around the world who actually need it the most. It's like people in Zimbabwe and about 38 other countries on this planet. They're realizing that the system is broken. Their leaders are not leading. They're just being very greedy and continue to take from them. And the future is transacting digitally. So I will continue to say, I do hope, especially as long as you are able to do so legally where you live, that people continue to get some Bitcoin and drag themselves into the future, because the way of transacting is basically that. The rules and regulations will continue to become more stringent. Some countries also now have it at $1,000. First of all, I don't think anyone under the age of 60, let's be honest, no one under the age of 60 should be carrying cash anyway. I don't know anyone who uses cash. And I mean, all my friends are either tapping their card, they're tapping their phone, or they're tapping their watches. So, yeah. A lot more that I want to say, but for the sake of ruffling any feathers, yeah, it's nice to see that other people around the world are getting I don't know what I'm trying to say there, that they're buying Bitcoin basically, because Bitcoin is for the masses. It is not for the large companies and corporations who are buying all of it up. It's for you. It's for the people. So don't forget that when it goes to $1 million per coin. I think that's going to do it for this video. I do sincerely hope that you have all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day. Morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be, I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.